In the early 1960s, black groups like the Shirelles had great success with their carefully crafted studio sound.
Tonight, the light of love is in your eyes. But will you love me tomorrow?
But in 1964, the charts were invaded by British bands, and many of those same black groups stopped having hits. To help compete with the Beatles and regain that wider audience, black musicians would turn back for inspiration to a sound they had grown up with, to give the music soul.
Failure, believe me, you're gonna fail.
For the generation who were children in the 50s, gospel churches had provided a memorable musical education.
It's a sound, it's a feeling. It's a different type of feeling that comes forth from people who have been singers in the church.
Ray Charles had already shown how gospel-influenced music could be made to work commercially. His 1954 recording, I Got a Woman, had broken new ground as a celebration of music from the church, but with very secular lyrics.
That's because I got a woman way over town, good to me. Yes, I have. I got a woman way over town, good to me. I know she give me money, I'm in need.
We did I Got a Woman. That's where it all started from. Because a lot of people said, "Oh, that's a religious song. And you just change the words around and this and that." So and so you're being sacrilegious and you're being this and you're being that and you know. And my answer to that was, at this point, since I've given up trying to sound like Nat Cole, I'm gonna be what I am, and I don't give a damn who like it and who don't.
Tell me what I say. Tell me what I say. Oh, what I say. Tell me what I say. Tell me what I say.
Berry Gordy, the young record store owner from Detroit's first love had been jazz, but he found it difficult to sell this music to his contemporaries. After the failure of his store, he worked on the Ford assembly line by day and started to write more populist songs by night.
Lonely teardrops, my pillow never dry up. Lonely teardrops, come on, come on.
Gordy struck lucky when Jackie Wilson, Detroit's hottest singer, had a hit with a song written by Gordy and a friend of his, Billy Davis.
It was very important to make sure it had crossover potential. It had to have a sound that wasn't threatening to the general audience or the pop disc jockeys or the program directors. Threatening anything that was too funky, too bluesy was a little bit threatening. No, that's not for our audience. Would be the spill that you would get. So it was okay for it to have a rhythm and a beat, as long as you didn't get too funky with it.
Early in 1959, with several other hits to his credit, Gordy borrowed $800 from his family and launched what would become the Motown empire. Within a year, Hitsville, USA was home to the #2 song in the charts, Smokey Robinson and the Miracles' Shop Around.
And then she said, just because you become a young man now, there's still some things that you don't understand now. Before you ask some girl for a hand now, keep your freedom for as long as you can now. My mama told me, you better shop around.
The Marvelous Marvelettes.
Oh yes, wait a minute, Mr. Postman. Wait, hey, Mr. Postman. Mr. Postman, you can see. Oh yeah.
Motown's first #1 record came from another local group fresh from high school. But since many stores would still not display records that showed black faces, the Marvelettes' first album featured a cartoon mailbox. For talent like the Marvelettes, Gordy drew on the tough projects housing estates of Detroit's South Side. He soon had an impressive array of young gospel-trained singers eager to get a break and join the Motown family.
Well, you know he treats me bad.
One of his first stars was Mary Wells. As a 17-year-old, she'd walked into an open audition hoping to sell a song and was quickly signed up by Gordy, who backed her with a young male group called the Temptations.
I love him so.
Do you love me? I can really move. Now do you love
The Contours would have one big hit, but they were too rough around the edges to ever fully meet Gordy's crossover requirements.
I can dance. Yeah. Watch me now. Hey, work. Woo! I'm working out, baby. Well now.
Marvin Gaye was the son of a Pentecostal minister. In his early days at Motown, he worked as a session drummer. Then in 1961, he married Gordy's sister Anna and was offered a solo recording contract. 12-year-old blind Stevland Morris was rechristened Little Stevie Wonder by Gordy. In 1963, the release of his live recording Fingertips Part 2 made him a commercial success, and Motown quickly marketed him as the 12-year-old genius. Motown's production line of hits was modeled on the car assembly plants its boss had worked on.
Very swinging company, working hard from day to day. Nowhere will you find more unity than at Hitsville, USA. And we'd all sing it and just love it. We felt as if we were in school or college. And I feel like I'm a graduate of the Motown University, cum laude.
Can't forget the Motor City. All we need is music.
Berry Gordy controlled every step of the process, from selection of the artist to their choice of song and the publishing rights. This meant that the organization was strong enough to withstand the Beatles when they came in 1964. Even a former company secretary had a record in the charts.
It's amazing how fast Motown grew. I was only a secretary there for 9 months. But at the end of that 9 months, everybody was famous. Everybody had a record out, and I never looked back. I gave my job to 3 girls from Secretarial College.
Gordy knew, however, that the key for Motown's long-term success was to build up a strong songwriting team. Many of Martha and the Vandellas' early hits were written by 2 brothers from Detroit who had grown up steeped in gospel music.
And you praise his holy.
Eddie and Brian Holland teamed up with their friend Lamont Dozier to write over 20 top 10 songs for Motown.
That's our favorite song right there.
It took me a while to write songs. I couldn't do them real quick. It would take me some time to sort of juggle each word around and this word around, mostly to go for the feeling of it, Not necessarily the rhyming, the feeling, you know, where you could feel it, where you could walk away and it would be sort of a haunting feeling, you know, and my concept was always basically if you missed 30% or 50% of the lyric, you would still know what the song was about.
Here's your old friendship ring.
Holland Dozier Holland, as the team called themselves, followed Berry Gordy's style of simple lyrics, but with a distinctive musical addition of their own.
At that time, the rhythm was usually buried on a record. You didn't hear it. Just a small pulse, you'd feel it. But when Holland Dozier Holland came on the scene, it became rhythm out front. They had stomping boards. They'd take a board and put on some 2x4 and stand on it and stomp. They'd shake chains, scratch on the wall. They did all kind of sounds and rhythm, man. They were just creative. Anything that sounded pretty decent, they'd do.
The Motown Sound would never have happened had the musicians not been the skillful guys that they were and the tasty jazz musicians that they were, because they allowed us to be heard. They played special things where you could fit your vocals in just like they fitted their music together. That's the reason for the real grooves that we had because of the Funk Brothers.
The Funk Brothers was the nickname given to the jazz musicians Gordy had brought in as the Motown session band. The company's young producers used them whenever possible to give their records a leg up on the competition, which often came not from the Beatles, but from just down the hall.
The real competition was within the Motown. The Norman Whitfields, the Smokey Robinsons, the Ivy Joe Hunters, and Mickey Stevenson. That was the real competition because you felt if you did not come up with that follow-up, somebody would be there and say, oh, the guys missed this time. Let's rush in and cut this. I think we got them. It was that type of thing. So that was really the only true competition that you were really aware of or felt.
Smokey sits down at the piano and he passes the lyrics around, and I'm reading the lyrics and I said, what? You got a smile so bright you know you could have been a candle. That's hokey. But the more I looked, at it and we started putting the harmony together, I said, this is some pretty clever stuff, even though it was very simple, but it had a nice, unique thing about it. And once we put the voices together and rehearsed it and went in the studio and we heard the track and we put it all together, that was the one.
Well, you could have been anything that you wanted to, and I can tell the way you do the thing you do.
Several producers had recorded a young trio from the projects called the Supremes, but the group remained hitless for 3 years until Holland Dozier Holland tried a new approach.
We had watched people come into Motown, be signed, and get a hit record and go on. And we were the first female group there. So anyway, when Eddie brought us this song, it was to be our, I think, 12th release, something like that. I heard the song, we heard the song, and at that time I was kind of more or less the spokesperson. I spoke up, And I said, Eddie, we want a hit. This song is not a hit. And I said, it's nothing. It's like, baby, baby, where did our love go? Baby, baby.